My name is Gary Butterfield.
My name is Cole Ross.
And you're listening to Best Quality Vacuum, the Duckfeed show about Breaking Bad, El Camino, and Better Call Saul.
And today we're talking about the episode Buried, which was written by Thomas Schnauz, directed by Michelle MacLaren, and it originally aired on August the 18th of 2013.
Yeah, not beating the Season 5 Steven Seagal subtitle allegations.
I can't stop seeing it now.
Yeah. Eventually it does end, because it'd be real weird if he made a movie called, like, Tahajali.
Yeah.
You know? But Granite State, Buried, Blood Money, like a lot of these confessions, a lot of them work pretty well.
Yeah.
For it.
The Granite State is just so associated with New Hampshire that it would be very weird. Like, that sounds like him starting up here's Steven Seagal facing the challenge of a lifetime, starting a bed and breakfast.
It sounds like a shitty Steven Seagal sequel to Garden State. Like, Steven Seagal is like, you're going to hear this. It's going to change your life. And it's fucking Ted Nugent or whatever.
Yeah,
he puts the headphone in.
And there's
a cover of new slang.
Even Tahajali, because of his weird appropriation of Native American indigenous stuff. You know?
He's a fascinating fucking man.
Oh yeah, and the Behind the Bastards about him is amazing.
Yeah, he's just an incredible specimen, and always has been. And boy, it was a curse to know things about people. we never should have known things about people.
No, my favorite story of his is him challenging somebody to try and choke him out, and he shit his pants.
Yeah, pretty good. The entirety of the closing sketch on his Saturday Night Live episode is to be seen, to be believed. There's 9 minutes of him fighting stuntmen while SNL cast members stand there.
Yeah.
This episode, Steven Seagal's Buried, is a place-setting episode. It immediately kind of picks up immediately after the last one with Walt confronting Hank, and kind of the fallout from that, and then kind of sets some things up for a little bit.
Kind of resets relationships, starts showing us the new alliance lines.
Yeah. I was surprised by how little happens in this when I revisited it. It's a good episode, but it's not very momentous.
Right.
One of the things, I love all of Breaking Bad, but one of the criticisms I hold Brooke of seasons 5 and 5 is that you can feel that it was stretched. The number of the episode number was increased.
It does feel a little bit like there are 3 too many episodes and not the last 3.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But getting the places in there, or getting everything set up for that is kind of can be a little bit uneventful. Again, not a problem, but just it's there's not a whole lot to talk about.
Yeah.
In this one, there's not as much maybe as there will be in the future.
The tension here is that Hank knows what Walt has done, but does not have proof, and reveals too many of his cards, i.e. that he has no cards to Skyler, trying to get her on his side.
Yep. And she stays loyal, and Hank gets another, similar to finding the framed invoice number in the picture in evidence lockup. He gets thrown a bone of fate.
Yes. By
running into Jesse, and Jesse's current, having a hard time dealing with things.
Yes. Yeah.
And Declan heads, my deck boys out there.
Yeah.
My deckies. It's going to be a rough one. So a little warning for everybody.
No, my heart goes out. Rip in peace to the deck heads.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. So Jesse's in this, but he doesn't speak. I forget where I read this, but so Anna Gunn is the only person who speaks in every episode. And Aaron Paul is the only person who appears in every episode.
Yeah, I saw that too. That felt a lot like a factoid straining to become a trivia.
A little bit.
Or something. Yeah. It's they're the exact inverse. And I'm oh, that's what level of, I don't know. What are you dealing with there? We were going to see Declan get shot more. And give as good as he got. We were going to get a whole big blaze of glory for Declan. They literally ran out of money. And it's a nice example of them, I think, making lemonade. You know, the actual scene, the way they handle it, I think is really cool.
Yeah. Keeping the focus on Lydia. We'll talk about it when we get there.
Yeah. First, we have our cold open, though. An old man wakes up. He's got an early shift doing something, starts up his truck, and he notices that there's cash on his windshield, and he follows a trail of cash stacks. Lucky him.
Down into a park where Jesse has abandoned his car with a big sack of money inside. And Jesse's lying on a merry-go-round. Just real kind of shell-shocked generally. Just kind of spinning himself, looking straight up. This is basically just like the exact same shot when he spins to turn upright as when Walt is getting his scans, you know? Yeah.
So he's catatonic, basically, about this. We cut immediately to where we were, where at Hank's house at the garage door goes up as Walt is leaving. And he immediately tries to call Skylar.
Yeah.
You know, Hank closes the door. Hank's on the phone, gives him a look, and the phone is busy. Hank was quicker on the draw.
Yes.
Here. So Walt speeds the hell off to try to get in touch with her in person. I love this little bit where, so we cut over to Skylar. You know, she's shocked on the phone. When Walt gets to the car wash, I love how he calms himself down before he comes in. You know, he can't rush in panicking. But Skylar's already gone.
Yes. Yeah. He was, he had to put on his together face for Mariano.
Yes.
Yeah. She's gone because she is at this restaurant and she is there to meet Hank. And Hank, is only mad at Walt at this point. Like he greets her with a hug. I love this.
Skylar's surprised by this.
Yes.
Yeah, like it's really good. Skylar does not know what to expect about this. Because again, part of her arc has been being more and more complicit.
Yes.
In this, Skylar is not without sin, but he's contrite. You know, I'm really sorry. Everything makes sense. I really wish I'd seen this sooner.
Yeah.
To help you out. He is a monster.
Yeah.
And he says, you listen, you can be open with me. Were you abused by this? You're done being his victim. You can completely talk to me about this.
Yeah.
And he's just kind of bulldozing a little bit. He means well, like genuinely during this, even though he's going to give her really horrible advice.
His physical state, I think, is important to talk about. Like he hasn't shaved in several days and he clearly hasn't slept as well. Like he is also kind of muttering a lot of this.
He's got adrenaline. He just punched Walt in the face and rushed over here.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's intense to him. Time feels very of the essence.
Yes. Yeah. He says, hey, we're going to get you and the kids over to the house. And Skylar, the first time she speaks is to ask this question, does Marie know? And he says, oh, there'll be time for that. Right.
Yeah. Yep. He pulls out a tape recorder and says, give me a detailed account, everything, what you knew, when you knew it, while it's still fresh. And Skylar says, do we need to do this right now?
They're in public.
We're in public and this is all very fresh. He pulls the tape recorder back and just like, listen, I need this testimony in order, as a basis to start this investigation because Walt's going to run out the clock.
Yeah.
And this is Skylar finding out that his cancer is back. She didn't know.
Yeah. And, Hank's reaction to that, as opposed to like, oh, okay, well, that's not the important thing that I just broke this news to you. Who's to say it's even true, right?
Yeah.
Which it is a real possibility. Walt could be a lying piece of shit. Yeah.
He lies a lot.
Yeah.
This is where Skylar, says maybe she needs a lawyer, and Hank does not like this.
No.
That's just going to gum things up. If you start getting defensive and asking for lawyers, the DA is going to look at you differently. It is in your best interest to get out there and show the world you have nothing to hide.
Right.
And again, I don't think Hank is throwing Skylar under the bus on purpose. Like Hank loves Skylar. This is bad advice. Having a lawyer to protect yourself is a good idea.
This is him talking as a brother-in-law and as somebody who is obsessed with this case, not as somebody who is speaking like as a law enforcement professional.
Yes. And those two things, the obsessiveness with the case and his care for Skylar are fighting.
Yes.
On screen.
Yeah.
And Hank says, then, what are you talking about? Like our interests are the same. We want the same thing. And she's, Hank, you telling me not to get a lawyer does not sound like that. It sounds like all you want to do is get Walt no matter what happens.
Right.
And it's brutal. It's a really heartbreaking scene. This is their relationship deteriorating almost the last time they talk.
Yeah.
They got 2 more on the clock, and neither of which are particularly warm.
No, not at all. So Hank gives in, right? Reshuffling the priorities here. Like, okay, let's get the kids safe. And he starts he grabs at her forearm, and Skylar asks, "Is she, am I under arrest? Like, do I have to go with you?" And, she kind of loses it on him, saying very loudly, asking, "Am I under arrest? I'm under arrest." And then, walking away very quickly.
Yeah. In public. Like, basically, if you're going to do this, you have to do this officially.
Yeah.
And, and he's gobsmacked by this. Again, there's a big sense of betrayal here. We cut over to Kubi and Huel that are in the storage unit to grab the cash.
Yeah.
And this is a famous, funny scene. Huel says, "I got to do it, man," and lies down on the cash.
Yeah.
Would you be very uncomfortable?
Oh, it'd be hard. It's really, that much cash wrapped up like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Paper kind of becomes wood when you compress it enough.
Yeah. That was really deep. That's philosophy.
It returns to its form. It yearns.
So we're here to do a job, not channel Scrooge McDuck. And then, screw it. Kubi lies down too.
Yeah. Why not? And Huel just I got one word for you, Mexico.
I'm just saying.
Just saying, Mexico. And Kubi's like, no, he got, 10 people killed in jail in 2 minutes.
Just
we would get stabbed. That this is a bad idea.
Yeah. While they're doing this, while they're getting these millions and millions of dollars, Walt's at Saul's office, and Jesse's not picking up his phone. Jesse is in custody.
Yep.
Yeah.
Skylar calls Walt, and Saul advises Walt not to answer it, and in fact take out his phone's battery. If she's working with the DEA, they're going to track this shit.
Yeah, could be triangulating him.
Yeah. Saul says that Skylar only knows where the money is. So Hank probably doesn't know anything about this. Does not actually have any proof. He knows, and Saul says, "Have you considered sending Hank on a trip to Belize, where Mike went?" Yeah. He loves throwing people to Belize.
And he's real. He's real kind of just kind of beating around the bush on this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, he's scared. As well he should be.
Yeah.
And Walt blows up. Hank, his family, send him to Belize. I'll send you to Belize. A very cool grade school response to this.
The look on Bob Odenkirk's face.
That's real good.
Oh, God.
So Kubi and Huel show up with the van full of cash in barrels. They left the caps off so Walt could count it. And he just kind of looks at the money and goes close enough. He's not going to count it.
Yeah. Did you notice the look that Huel and Kubi gave to each other when he said close enough?
Yeah. Just like, shit. We could have skimmed. Walt gives a bunch of money to Saul, saying this is to pay them, to pay you, and to be retainer. He said, "I need you. I'm leaving."
Yes.
And he drives out to the Tuhajali reservation, which was the site of the first cook, to bury the barrels of cash. I never think about this, but in rewatching it, in terms of Walt mistakes, in addition to keeping leaves of grass around, this is probably one. They go through a lot of trouble to figure out where he buried his money. But Jesse being like, "Oh, it's probably where he first cooked." It's a very sentimental. It's a little bit like having your kid's birthday as your password or something.
Yeah, yeah.
If this were an immersive sim of Breaking Bad, on the back of a picture frame, it would be the site of our first cook, and there'd be coordinates, or something, and you'd have to look those up.
Yeah, I forget. Does Jesse put it together? Does he say "Oh, here's probably where he went"?
No. Jesse doesn't put it together, but once he gets there, he realizes it.
Oh, okay.
He doesn't put it together first, but it feels like on a long enough timeline he could have. To me, and just been I don't know. If we know he buried it in the desert, maybe he chose somewhere sentimental.
Yeah. Somewhere easy to remember, right?
Yeah.
And he pulls out a pickaxe and starts breaking ground. You can't dig that up with a license plate,
Yeah, and he has to do it himself. He doesn't want other people to know.
Yes.
Skylar calls Saul's office, but Francesca won't answer. Will not imply whether Walt is there or not.
What do you mean you don't know if he was there?
Yeah. Keeping it secret until Marie knocks on the door with Hank waiting outside.
This is heart-wrenching.
Yeah, this is a sad scene.
Yeah. And also,
again, just these final interactions with these characters.
Mm-hmm. And, additionally, it is the start of one of my favorite turns in this, which is Dark Marie.
Yeah. It's a well-meaning Dark Marie.
Mm-hmm.
On the condition she comes in alone, Skylar lets her in, and they go to the bedroom, and Marie, begs Skylar, like, tell Hank everything that's happened.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me that Hank's wrong. Tell me that's a lie. And if you can't do that, cooperate. Mm-hmm. And all Skylar can do is cry in the face of this. And Marie starts putting it together.
Mm-hmm. Starts kind of going backward through all of these milestones, asking how long she's known, starting with like, oh, so that's what you walking into the pool was about.
Yeah, that's what Hank thinks.
Yes.
It is from the pool, but I think it might have been sooner.
Mm-hmm.
Starts kind of working backwards. Gus Fring, buying the car wash. Did you know before Hank was shot? Did you know in season 3?
Mm-hmm.
You can see Marie getting upset at the implication of this.
Yes.
Here. And all Skylar can say is, I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
At this.
Yeah. And Marie slaps her.
Yeah.
I'm saying, like, you're not cooperating because you think that Walt's going to get away with it. This betrayal.
Yep. You threw your family under the bus as well.
Mm-hmm.
Marie leaves the room and we can hear Holly crying. Skylar chases after her here, and it's very dramatic and intense as Marie is going to try to kidnap the baby.
Holly ends up being like the flag in a capture the flag game.
This baby that's been non-existent for like roughly 3 of the seasons of the 4 it's existed is now such a prop. In this season.
Red team has picked up the baby.
If you can spike the baby into your own home base, you get the point. They're hoping to put it at Hank's house and get the point, but
oh gosh. And Hank, Marie signals for Hank. And he comes in on them kind of screaming at each other, with Holly crying. Well, they're all kind of crying, and Hank sensing, okay, this doesn't actually help us. If this starts as a kidnapping case,
it's not. They don't balance out.
No,
it's going to be that's going to muck things up.
Yeah.
Just says leave her. Marie hands the baby, and her and Hank leave. And Marie tells Hank, you need to get his ass, no matter what.
Yeah. So Walt spends all night burying the cash. We get a little montage here.
Yep. Memorizes the coordinates, smashes the GPS so there's no evidence, and then buys a lottery ticket with the coordinates and puts it on the fridge at home. This is also one of those things I think is clever, but also somebody could throw away an expired lottery ticket.
Yeah.
Later he keeps it in his wallet. I don't know why he put it on the fridge at all. Skylar asks where he's been.
Yeah.
Because he has dirty clothes, and she's talking while he just is catatonic. He strips and gets in the shower. And she says, listen, I didn't tell Hank anything. There's a little bit of fear there. But Walt is sick.
Yeah.
He passes out, smacks his head on the tile. The cancer's got him.
Pulls a Schuler.
Yeah, he Schulers it.
Yeah. And he's, passed out on the bathroom floor for 5 hours. And Skylar is, gotten a pillow and put a blanket over him, but, when he wakes up, okay, he's conscious now. She's like, oh, so yeah, the cancer's back. And just this heartbreaking exchange, is this it? Does that make you happy? And Skylar just saying, I can't remember the last time I was happy.
Which somebody has forgotten about certain Albertsons, almond slivers, and green beans. It seemed pretty tasty. That would have made anybody happy. So, ding.
A little bit of lemon on this bad boys.
Yeah, just you fucked up there, editors. Continuity here. Walt, says, listen, I know you made a deal, and that's okay. Like, I accept it. I'm going to give myself up on the condition you keep the money. Don't speak of it. Never give it up. You have to pass it on to the children if you give them everything. Otherwise, this will have been for nothing. Please let this not be for nothing.
Yeah.
And this is naive. Skylar won't say yes because that won't work.
Nope.
There's not that you won't just be able to keep the money.
Incompatible realities.
Yes. She says, how did Hank find out? And no one talked. It was just Walt who fucked up.
Yeah.
And then Skylar lets him in on something. The way he talks, he's got his suspicions, not much else.
Mm-hmm.
You can't give yourself up without giving out the money. So maybe our best move here is just to stay quiet. Maybe we can wait this out.
Yeah.
He doesn't have proof. We'll lose the family, but we won't lose everything.
Mm-hmm. And that's going to be their strategy. And there is no, so a detail from before, Walt's been trying to get a hold of Jesse.
Yes.
He was trying to call him in Saul's office, but there's no response about it.
Yeah.
So, in picking this strategy, they did not take into account that there was this grenade rolling around.
Yeah. He's had a lot to deal with.
Yes.
He knew about Jesse getting arrested. He got called to cancer and he was going to deal with it, or Jesse throwing out the money and giving away the money, but also fuck, man. Mm-hmm. I got a lot of things going on.
Did he know about Jesse giving away the money?
Maybe not the money. What did he got called about him at the office recently. He's like, I will take care of it. And then he brought the money back to him. That was the money he tried to give to Saul. He didn't know about him throwing away the money. He knew about him trying to give it up the first time.
Yes. Yeah. There we go.
That's what I'm thinking.
Trying to give it to Kaylee and to Drew Sharp's parents.
Yeah. So he thinks that plate's still spinning, at least for the time being.
Yeah. Yeah. And Declan heads skip forward about 5 minutes.
Yep. This is going to be rough. And it's going to be rough for me. Mm-hmm. So if you hear either of our voices crack, it's the Declan and us. I did hear that Vince Gilligan is planning a Declan spinoff.
Okay.
But it's about him when he was a baby. It's a really weird choice. It's Declan babies. Yeah. And there's baby versions of all of the cast. Yeah. It's a really weird move. And eventually the Uncle Jack baby kills the Declan baby in that too. It's real bleak.
I think Vince Gilligan's got kind of like a late stage syphilis thing going on.
Yeah, he might be losing it a little bit. Yeah. He was a milliner. So
yeah. His college years working down at the felt factory.
Yeah, working at the felt factory. So he's he's mad as a something, as they say. So one of Declan's guys drives up with a blindfolded Lydia to Declan's cool Mad Max compound.
Uh-huh.
I love him and Uncle Jack, everyone having these Mad Max, straight out of Fallout Tactics compounds out in the desert.
It's a junkyard, but it doesn't have any walls or fences.
No. And it's literally, you can't see anything from it.
Yeah.
She wants to see the operation because something's going wrong.
Yeah.
And Declan is like, this is a waste of time, but they're losing money.
Yeah.
The buyer in the Czech Republic, there's a $50 million shortfall. The buyer in the Czech Republic is not happy.
Yeah. And Declan's whole thing is good enough, right?
Yeah.
Just barely sufficient. Right. Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Again, at some point he says it, we sell poison to people who want to kill themselves. Mm-hmm. That's fine.
Yeah.
He takes her to where the cook is happening, which is a bus that's buried underground.
Mm-hmm.
That's super cool.
I like that.
Love that. That's also extremely Fallout Tactics. Lydia climbs down and sees the lab, and it's dirty. Mm-hmm. It's disgusting. Their standards are low.
Yeah.
And Lydia's walking around, this has none of the wit and polish of a Heisenberg lab, but Declan's not hearing it.
Yeah. Just saying, what are you, my mother? It's not filthy. It's just dimly lit.
I love it. It's great. Classic line. They're just soaking. And Declan basically says those standards don't matter anymore. He's out of the competition.
Yeah.
Now that this is the only game in town, we can sell 68% poison for people who want to kill themselves.
Yeah. He says who's going to carry these, tweaked out bikers in Arizona? And, Lydia is saying no, it needs to be pure because I'm going to ship it to Europe and they're going to step on it. Right.
Yeah. It's going to be a big deal, for them. Lydia says, well, can you bring in Todd again?
Yeah.
His first two cooks you're at 68% now. Those were at least at 74%. Mm-hmm. Declan's like, yeah, his first two cooks were, and then he started a fire on his third.
Yeah.
I'd rather use my own guys. That guy sucks.
Mm-hmm.
And this was the wrong answer.
Yes. Lydia says, "Hey, I wish you would have given Todd a chance." Speaking with some finality here, and someone calls down saying, "Hey, there's a problem. There's a shouting match up on the surface. Declan goes up, and then we hear a shootout. This is the shootout that they were going to film but didn't. I don't need them to spend money showing us Declan's crew dying.
No, it break my heart. They also don't need to show. There's like one full shootout they show. At the end of this with the robot, and them keeping their powder dry on that, including most of the shootout in Ozymandias as well. During that bit is also smart.
Yes,
I think. Yeah. We don't need to see it.
Yeah, and we instead get Lydia kind of duck and covering her ears, and this is a great choice. While like the shell casings fall through the ventilation fan. Yeah,
yeah. It's interesting that Declan got absolutely like flawless victoried. Like his crew must suck.
Oh God, yeah.
I don't think he was expecting the Nazis to come shoot him, so element of surprise is certainly one thing. But like they didn't get any Nazis.
No.
Yeah.
Todd
calls down at this point. Ma'am, are you okay? She climbs up and she doesn't want to see this.
Yeah.
I prefer not to see this.
She doesn't have the stomach for it. She'll order the hit, but she, can't walk through it. Right?
Yeah, Lydia's the fucking worst. Lives are abstract to Lydia.
And Todd takes it in stride and cool. So I guess maybe close your eyes.
Yeah. I love this. It's very tender, like him walking her through.
Yeah.
Leading her around the corpses.
He's obviously down bad.
Yeah. He loves Lydia. It being impossible to tell Todd's age makes that difficult. This is before Jesse Plemons looked like an adult and not like a high school senior. But Uncle Jack is amused and Todd kind of brushes him back. Declan survived just a little bit. He tries to crawl away and Jack puts him down. Lets everyone know there's going to be a gun. Fire in the hole. It's cool, lady. He's dead.
just like oh yeah, no, hey, sorry, just this thing's just kind of moving around. Let's just tamp that down. Very unceremonious.
Last episode, in terms of people who have been in the show, there is a guilelessness to the Nazis that I think is like, you can kind of, it's the thing that throws off Walt.
Oh yeah.
A little bit. And one of the things, like everyone else is kind of playing, and the Nazis are just a gang. And they just do the thing they say they're going to do and then do it.
Yeah.
Like they make sense. Like, I hate how much this podcast has me expressing admiration for these white nationalists.
Yep.
But in the world of Breaking Bad, like it's interesting that the straight putt is the thing that Walt was not prepared for.
Oh yeah.
Him thinking these people are under his control and thinking like, oh, I called you, like later, when we get to Ozymandias, I called you off. Like that. What a statement. They're fucking neo-Nazis. What do you mean you called them off?
Yeah, you thought you could control this?
You took them you sent them to where your money is. Like this isn't that.
Yeah.
And the way that they act about, again, all the Jesse stuff, all the Pinkman stuff, like it is very efficient in a way that you can only be if you have no morality at all.
Yeah.
He's so used to being and surrounding himself with people who have at least built to themselves like a code, like think that there's a line they won't cross,
like built up a fiction more than anything, whereas
he thinks of himself as somebody with a code.
Well, that's
like there are lines he would not cross.
That's his ego is what it is. And Jack, I don't want to say he has no ego, like there's a little bit of pettiness in it, but like it manifests as like, oh well, a deal's a deal and an opportunity is an opportunity. In terms of people who tell the truth on this show, he's real up there. Yeah.
Right? It's weird. So we go over to Hank in the kitchen going over evidence. He and Marie are both staying home from this. And she says, do this now. Yeah. Before he has a chance to fuck around, get the DA. And he's like, no. When I come in, they find out that my own brother-in-law was Heisenberg. That's it for me.
Yeah.
I get one shot at this. We can't show our cards yet. My career's gonna be over no matter what, but I can be the guy who caught him.
Yeah. And this is Hank's ego kind of getting in a little bit, right? Like if Jesse didn't throw that money around, he probably would not end up dead.
Yep.
Yeah.
Everything would have ended up a little bit better.
Yes.
I mean, for our villain heroes.
Yeah.
And Marie says, what happens if they catch Walt and they find out that you knew? already. Like, are you incriminating yourself doing this?
Yeah.
He doesn't answer that. He goes to the office. He's talking to Gomi. They're going to set up a conference call with the superior, with Raimi, and talk to him about it. Like, he's going to give in at this point, basically shoot his shot. But he gets distracted.
Because Gomi asks, like, just as some office, like, water cooler gossip, like, oh, did you hear about the money thing? You're gonna love this. It involves your old friend Pinkman.
Yep. And they cut over Pinkman, the two cops that are assigned to Pinkman.
Yeah. His caseworkers.
His caseworkers. You got him in the notes as the Blowjob Brothers, which I like.
Not homophobically referencing the tweet, just any two guys. And, well.
Yeah.
If it is,
and they could be giving, they could be giving blowjobs to women. It doesn't have to be homophobic. Blowjob is just for everyone now.
Yes.
I just love that it's these two assholes.
Yeah. Just being real smug. Like, man, if I had that kind of money, I couldn't keep my mouth shut about it. Probably wouldn't throw it away though.
I'd tell cops about it. They're trying to get him to say why he was doing it. Yeah. Hank shows up and basically kind of bargains with him. Can I talk to him? I have a history with him. That guy hates me. I can get him talking. He's like, well, we'll share anything that's interesting.
Yes.
And we don't get to see anything that happens. Hank just goes into the room and we cut to credits.
Yes.
The two characters who have only interfaced a little bit before, now really unlikely bedfellows.
Yes. And kind of exploiting Jesse. Like there's no good for Jesse for a long time.
No. Yeah, Jesse's fucked.
Yeah.
It's really, he's been fucked for a while, given that he's all catatonic on playground equipment.
Yeah.
He's not doing good now, but he hasn't been acceptable in acceptable condition since Drew Sharp. He's not okay.
Do you remember the late era Simpsons joke? Like Homer goes to heaven and is talking to God, and there's just like there's this little like throwaway, just like, you just you got to go talk to my son. I don't know what you guys did to him, but he's been messed up since. And it's a cut over to Jesus sitting on a playground swing, just kind of like like spinning on it.
Yeah. Yep.
I don't know what you guys did
to him. It's really good.
But yeah, just see Jesse being in that situation, just spinning on a swing.
It's exactly that. Like he's a lost boy.
Yeah.
Bad things in the future.
Yeah.
For all of our people and Declan.
I like Marie, like thinking about Hank's possible culpability in this, like scoping out an angle that is going to be a real surprise when Walt and Skyler, put together the confession tape, basically saying, "Oh, we're, like if you push this further, we're gonna make that be exactly what it looks like."
She kind of anticipates it, Gwen, if you're hearing this, if you could find a MIDI version of In the Arms of an Angel, just for the outro of this one, just for Declan reasons, I think Deckheads would probably appreciate it. Everyone else, I don't care to know you, but for our Deckheads in the audience, thanks for listening.
If we didn't make that a running joke, I wonder if we could have gotten an interview with Louis Ferreira.
We might still be able to.
Yeah.
Like it is kind of a running joke, but it's not against the actor or anything.
No.
It's just about him not being a very strong character. It'd be very funny if that was the one guy we got, especially since we know somebody who knows Matt Stone.
Yeah.
Or knows the Badger.
Yeah.
Badger's actor. Like we could potentially talk to that guy. Perhaps at some point. I just don't know what I'd say to him. But it'd be very funny to get Declan for it. Just be like, when you were choosing how Declan acted, what were your actor's secret for Declan?
Yeah. Take me inside. Well, what's the average day in Declan's life look like?
Yeah, fuck inside the actor's studio. Let's get inside the Declan.
Inside Declan's studio. That's right. Declan lives modestly, rolls Mr. all of it back into the business.
Yeah. I love it. I want to know what Declan's like. He doesn't seem like he's that happy.
No.
What happened to him? Like, what are his tragic past? Hopefully we'll find out in that Baby spinoff.
Always getting shown up by Baby Gus.
Yeah, the little fucking Baby Gus is his main competition with his blue binkies that Heisen Baby creates.
With Jesse Binkman?
Yeah. He's named after the famous physicist Baby. I don't know. This is good. We should write a script.
I think this is a dumb show.
No, this is good. I think this is the exact energy we need to transition to Abject Suffering after this.
It is, yeah.
What should people do if they like the Declan babies?
If you want to see Declan babies become a reality, no guarantees, go to patreon.com/Duckfeed.tv. Kick us some money. That supports this show and this network.
One of the funniest things about Declan babies is that they did make that cartoon of Slip and Jimmy.
They did.
I watched the first episode of that, and it's one of the worst, dumbest things I've ever seen in my life. Like, looks like dog shit. There is no joy to be had in it. Mm-hmm. It's horrible, and that's an officially licensed Breaking Bad thing. It's very close to, like, Declan babies.
Yeah.
You should also tell your friends who are doing rewatches, rewatch with us. If you have thoughts about the end of Breaking Bad of season 5 and season 5, write in at duckfeed.tv/contact. Keep it concise and specific. We appreciate that. And we'll read those during our wrap up. And join us in thanking our producer, Gwen, who I tasked with finding in the arms of an angel on MIDI.
Yes. Go ahead and do it. Thank Gwen.
Yeah. Until next time, get a lawyer. Lawyer up. Don't talk to cops.
Yeah.
Stop talking to cops.
Yeah, they're not doing you a favor.
So you say. Just wondering why we're so lucky.